Hey guys, just thought I would check in and give my Ragtime Rebel update. It's been a little while since I last posted anything about him, mainly because he did a training level at the end of last season and then had a vacation. And now he's come out. He's done one training level this past weekend at Ocala, the Florida Horse Park, and he was quite good, and I've actually got the video footage of the dressage test and the show jumping, and I guess one fence, the water fence on the cross country. So I thought I would go ahead and play that video here, kind of talk you through what was going through our minds, and let you guys check it out. So here you go. Say hi, Rebel. So it was actually an incredibly windy day, and this was Rebel's first time out competing in quite a while, and I will say he had moments of absolute brilliance, and then we had moments like this, where things were trying to kill him in the corner, and that corner in particular really got to him. But the nice thing was, when he would have those moments, then he'd come right back and get back to work. And you can see, for a young thoroughbred, he's a little tight, he's a little nervous, but he keeps trying. Also, this is the first test that I actually tried to sit on him. I felt like I had a place to sit. I got to be honest, I'm not sure if that was the right decision or not. He might have moved a little bit better if I'd given him his back and let him just go around in a rising trot, but I felt like I needed myself to wrap around him and sit into him to keep him straight and to keep him focused, quite honestly. He's got such a lovely canter, so I was actually really pleased with his canter work in general. But again, you can see he just gets a little bit distracted. There's actually sandbags on the letters holding them down, and as they're flapping in the breeze, that just keeps distracting him a little bit. Again, young horse being out for the first time, windy, not a shocker when that stuff kind of happens, but happy that he kept coming back to work and kept doing his thing. Here we're supposed to be doing our stretchy circle, and I was pretty happy with him. You'd like him to be a little more open in his throat latch there and reaching, but again, because of the circumstances, I was a little worried to just let go of the reins for fear that I would lose his focus. So I kept him a little bit deeper, probably sacrificed a little bit of a point there doing that, but then I knew I'd keep him together and I wouldn't hopefully be as likely to get a spook out of him. The cool thing with him is, like there you can see he's looking off in the distance at somebody that he saw over there. But the cool thing about this horse is, again, he gets distracted like that, gets a little bit of a spook out of the corner, and then I'm able to just kind of soften the rein and let him walk up here. There's no real concern on my part at this moment that I'm going to lose his focus. He's actually quite a good boy, so he's trying hard, and then things surprise him. Pretty typical young horse stuff. Nice though, he came right back to me for the medium walk here. Was quite happy with him, and then I know I've got this bogey corner coming up, so I'm trying to bend him and get his focus, but it is just a little bit of a struggle. You can see again, I just lose him in that corner. The best thing you can do when that happens is just ignore it and get on with the show. So again, back into our little bit of a lengthening canter here. And the nice thing again is, even after that spook, I was able to kind of go forward and wrap myself around him, and then we bring him back for the collection. A little resistance there, which again is a little bit too bad, but all in all, not horrendous. Just needs time in the ring now, quite honestly. So we build a little bit of a lengthen coming into this demon corner down here. Fortunately, he's a little better off of the right rein. He doesn't have that devil eye on the left side, it's on the right side. And maybe just got a little bit quick here at the end, if I'm being critical. Just looks a little bit hurried, quite honestly. Coming through our turn, down for our last halt, up the center line, and I've got a smile on my face at this point, sort of chuckling, thinking, what a maroon. He could have been amazing, but we kept spooking at stuff. But all in all, a pretty good boy. Not too unhappy with him. So now we go into the show jumping. This is the same day, and maybe that's a lie. This is actually the next morning. He was one of the first horses in the ring, and he jumped great. This horse is such a good jumper. You can see we didn't quite get the lead cleanly there between the two fences, which put us up underneath that Steuben vertical, and I took a peek back, which is against the rules. Don't ever do that, kids. I shouldn't have looked back at that fence to make sure I left it up. Got a nice 6 stride here now from the Oxer down to the vertical, and he stays nice and level. Very happy with him there. Snug rollback turn now. We have to go around the first fence, but inside of the start timers, and I was a little worried he might get distracted there, but he didn't. He was excellent. Good jump there, and then we roll back again here to a double. And then I believe it was 9 strides here on the bend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It was 8 strides, which is how that walked to the fan. Again, a nice roll back here. And here we had an option. You could jump a Liverpool or a very square oxer. I went for the Liverpool because he's good at Liverpools, and it had a nice ground line because of Liverpool. So he jumped that really well. And then we come around to our last combination here. Gets a good shot in, and he jumps out really great. Quite happy with him. So unfortunately, we didn't get a ton of cross-country footage, but we did get him jumping into the final water. It's a pretty straightforward question here, but I will say this gray table you see him jumping, we call that, or I call it, I think it's the Gray Fox Farm Aqueduct fence. And it's just quite a spooky fence for the horses, because it has those cutouts in it that you can see underneath. And so as the horses come in, their eye sort of gets drawn down. So I did give him just a little touch with the stick, just to remind him, I didn't hit him with it hard, but just a little touch with the stick as I was coming around the turn, just to remind him to stay out in front of my leg. And he really answered quite nicely and took me right down to this fence and galloped right through the water. He's really becoming quite a brave, good cross-country horse. He was always very brave, but he was a little bit of an unguided missile, and as he's growing up, Rebel's really becoming much easier out on the cross-country. He gallops really nicely, from having been on the track as a racehorse, he knows how to gallop, so that part I don't have to teach him, and he's really starting to know to go to the fences that have the flags. He gets drawn to the flags, and you can see as we come through here what I'm talking about. So just before this video started, I gave him just a little touch with the stick behind the leg, make sure he switched on. Because of that, he was a little bit tough to make the turn, but all in all, pretty good. Decent shot in, maybe got a little bit deep there. Keep him really positive and forward through the water, and then a nice jump out over the brush fence. All in all, a really good weekend. The dressage test certainly could have been a little bit better, but show jumped great, cross-country'd great, and I think he ended up in 7th place here. Hopefully we'll get a handful more training levels under our belt this spring and into the early summer, and then see where that takes us from there. Thanks for stopping in. Till next time.